I mean, he's kind of been back. Obviously, earlier this year, he dropped songs like Thought You Should Know, Don't Think Jesus, and You Proof, but over the last few weeks, he's slowly been updating his appearance online with a new profile picture, some new promotional images, and then last night he announced his brand new tour alongside 3 new songs, and so it seems pretty inevitable we are entering a new Morgan Wallen album cycle, and boy, is that exciting. I'm going to touch on everything in this video, the tour, my speculations, and predictions regarding this inevitable album, but I mean, we gotta talk about the music first. If you're subscribed to Grady, which you probably are, then you've most likely seen my brief 30-second 2 a.m. thoughts on the songs. Huge thanks to Grady for inviting me on to chat Wallen for a little bit. Had a blast as always, but in this video, I'm looking to elaborate a little more, so let's get started. If I'm ranking the 3 songs, I'd go One Thing at a Time at number 1. Second, I would go Tennessee Fan. And then third, I'm gonna go Days That End in Y. Which seems to be less of a hot take than I thought it would be. I thought having the poppiest as my favorite would raise a few eyebrows, but from what I've heard, One Thing at a Time seems to be the front runner out of the gates. When I first clicked on this song, it definitely caught me off guard. Not that Morgan is a stranger to venturing into pop country. I mean, he literally sent You Proof to pop radio, and rightfully so. I mean, that was the correct decision. But One Thing at a Time is different, and different in a good way. It sees Morgan dip his toes into some more acoustic indie pop waters with a beauty strat line that just has so much bounce. Very John Mayer. I know I'm not the first one to draw that comparison, but it just screams sob rock with a slight 80s pop twist, almost like what Brothers Osborne did with their one song Younger Me, which I think was last year. Only Morgan approaches it from a much more upbeat, infectious angle, and I think he plays it off really well. I mean, it sounds like something you'd find on a Laundry Day album. Quick, catchy, a little goofy. I love the vocal double in the chorus, giving the implied chorus effect. I hope you know what I mean. Lyrically, it really draws a contrast to the sound, because although Morgan is singing all upbeat, really the song is about struggling to move on from a breakup and only being able to abandon one addiction, one bad habit, one thing at a time. And that just feels so in line with a lot of indie pop, and I think it pairs fantastic with the more lo-fi visuals he's pushing through the album cover. So while yes, it's very different isn't always a bad thing. He went for something a little out there, a little rogue, but I think it came together really nicely. Definitely one of his best pop-leaning songs he's ever made. I'm gonna be honest, I like Tennessee Fan a lot more than I thought I would. I'm not gonna give my whole college football rant again. I don't get it. It's not that I'm opposed to the culture. I don't know what's going on. You gotta remember, I'm a little northern Canuck boy, right? I grew up ice fishing and tapping maple trees with polar bears. You can find my full college football vent, I think in one of my new music roundup videos. I think it was while I was discussing Megan Moroney's song Tennessee Orange, which also, like, come on now. At this point, I'm just getting a little bored. Like, just confirm you're dating already. There's no need to keep dragging this out. It's not gonna be a big surprise to anyone when you finally post a picture of each other at a fancy restaurant. Like, just get it over with. My one question is, like, what happens if they break up? Morgan just gonna ship her back to Alabama or Georgia or wherever she's from? Like, is there a return policy on that? And like, what happens to the songs themselves? Like, Meg is pushing Tennessee Orange to country radio now. In all likelihood, it will become her biggest song so far. How do you perform that live after breaking up? Like, I guess the joke's on me, because I got the first pick and she aged like Nail Yakupov, a complete bust who got sent back to the Russian leagues. Like, how does that go? Getting back on track though, I do quite enjoy the song Tennessee Fan. I think it's a lot of fun, a great comedic little sing-along. I think this song is going to be an absolute smash live, especially when he's performing anywhere in Tennessee. I mean, the atmosphere of a whole arena in Tennessee screaming along to this one would be a hoot of a time. On the flip side though, wondering how this performs in Alabama. I kind of hope it's just dead quiet. Like, the crowd just unanimously agrees to stay dead silent through the entire song. Like, use it as a bathroom break. That'd be hilarious. I know how goodbye sounds when it fade down. I said this in Grady's video, but it feels like a slight injustice. I feel like putting it last gives it a negative connotation, but I still like it. I'm not saying that these are all like
10 out of 10 bangers. This is just a loose 10 out of 10.
But But I like the song. I'm mostly just impartial towards it. There's definitely some clever wordplay using Y as a double entendre, standing for both the question of Y ending his days questioning everything, but also all the days end in the letter Y, which is alluding to how his failure to move on seems to be like an everyday thing. I got curious who was behind this song, and I saw John Byron is credited as one of the co-writers, which is nuts because I thought this guy died in 1786. We're talking the John Byron, British naval officer and explorer, foul weather Jack, as they used to call him out on the poop decks. It is crazy how he has evolved his style to stay current, right from 18th century sea shanties all the way to Morgan Wallen. Like, fair. For real though, it's probably a lot more likely that this is the John Byron credit as the co-writer. But this John also has some good songs. He's written for people like Chase Rice, Chris Lane. Most notably for me anyways, he was credited as a co-writer on Tennille Art's song Jealous of Myself, which I was quite fond of. All in all, it's a pretty straightforward, dusty country ballad. Sonically and melodically, it definitely feels the most reminiscent of the Dangerous era. Some have compared it to This Side of a Dust Cloud, and I definitely hear that. Like I said, good song. I just think it's the most standard. It has the least amount of X factor beside the other two, which is why I think it lands lowest in my ranking of the three. So those are my thoughts on the songs themselves, but quickly before I wrap this video up, I do briefly want to touch on the circumstances surrounding the release of these songs. You know, over the last several months, Morgan has really been pushing this idea that 2023 is going to be a big year for him, and by his standards, especially with this newly announced tour, it's pretty much set in stone he will be dropping an album in 2023. The only questions remaining are like what and when. I'm fascinated to hear how personal he gets on the album cuts when they drop, because I can only imagine the sheer amount of chaos that has taken place in that man's head over the last 24 months. From the highest highs to the lowest lows to then spring to even higher highs, having a child, all signs now point to him being in a relationship with another country singer. I mean, I hope he takes a day off every now and then because he seems to have a pretty full plate. I thought he quickly mentioned his son Wilder on One Thing at a Time when he giggles in the pre-chorus. At first, I thought he was saying, I got a kid, but I stand corrected. He actually says, I got a lot of habits, I got a kick. So, generally, Morgan keeps his private life pretty private, and he has all my respect for that, but I do wonder how personal he will choose to get on this album simply because of the amount of drama that has taken place over the last 2 years. Bro, what's this guy Grady texting me about? Unreal, bro. Y'all don't know Grady off camera. He's trolling me because I still haven't changed my thumbnail for the Taylor Swift video. He's on me. He's like, dude, just change the thumbnail. And I'm like, I will. And he's like, well, you haven't done it. So, you know, let's do it right now. Taylor Swift. Ooh. Yup. That's a pretty image, right? All right, then we're going to go slides. Bing, bong. I'm going to drag this. How do I make this fit? Shoot. Am I going to stretch it again? That's pretty good. All right, text. Maybe it needed text. Maybe people didn't know what it was. Top 10 Taylor Swift songs. Is there Comic Sans? Oh, yes. Let's make that bold. Can I put an outline on it? I'll put a highlight. Cool. Screenshot that. Edit. Thumbnail. Yeah? Yup. Who is Grady Smith, bro? Then lastly, the tour, which I only want to mention because he's coming to Canada! Yes, his world tour has a Canadian leg. His world tour. Do you know how nice it feels to actually have the opportunity to see a country artist perform live? It's pretty rare up here. Country tours rarely make it this north, and while I can't blame them, it does get pretty dull up here. Like, only the biggest of the country superstars will make it all the way up, like Morgan Wallen, like Luke Combs, who was here recently, actually. Heck, even Drake is, like, never here, bro. But Morgan is actually doing several shows all across Canada. The Canadian leg of his tour isn't just Toronto. This is groundbreaking. More artists should follow in these footsteps. Canada has more than one city. He's going to Toronto, London, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, beware of the French people though. They're kind of nuts. Winnipeg, I don't really know why he wants to go to Winnipeg. It's just mosquitoes. That's all there is in Winnipeg. He's going to Vancouver, Calgary, Saskatoon. Anyways, I'm just excited because I might actually be able to see him live. Country music might be coming over the border. I don't mean that in a dismissive way towards all the great Canadian country artists that are busting their butts, but it's very different compared to the States. The country music landscapes, the country music culture is it ain't the same, man. It's not even comparable. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. I think this went a little longer than I wanted to, but oh well. Hopefully you enjoyed. Be sure to let me know what you thought of these 3 songs in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, a like really does help me out. If you're new and like what you see, maybe consider subscribing for some more country music content. In the description, you can find links to my Instagram, Discord, podcast, and Patreon if you want to follow me or support me on any of those. Overshore Music Awards 2022 coming soon. And yeah, till next time, I hope y'all have a great day.